in the previous class, we were learning about decision making, right? So we know decision making means in order to achieve an alternate, in order to achieve a objective or goal, we may have different alternatives. So assessing them consciously and choosing the best one, right? So choosing the best alternative or best course of action, which will lead us to the objective. That process is known as decision making. So we saw there are two types of decisions: programmed and non-programmed. In programmed decision, or rather programmed decision means one which is made following a set of rules, policies, and regulations or procedures, right? So whoever makes this decision in a given situation, the decision will be same, right? Doesn't change. So these decisions are made for repetitive kind of work. So also lower level managers are usually making program decisions, right? The non-program decision means those which are non-repetitive or ill-defined in nature, right? Which depends upon the situation. That kind of a situation may not have arisen till date. So based on situation, we need to make a decision. Those kind of decisions are known as non-programmed, right? So rather making non-programmed decision, we have different methods. We have seen different methods like Delphi method. Then based on your experience, then your quality circles like that. Different types of methods we have seen. So today what we'll see decisions under conditions, right? So first condition is decision under certainty, decisions under uncertainty, and risk. So decision under certainty. So it implies that we are certain of the future, or rather, we assume that we are certain of the future, right? From the day one, we were saying that the problem with management is that we are doing it for future, we are predicting. So we know future is uncertain. So in this case, what we are doing, we are assuming that we know what is going to happen. We are certain that we know what is going to happen. Okay, that's the condition. So a common technique used for decision under certainty is known as linear programming. Okay, linear programming. So in this method, a desired benefit, that is a profit, can be expressed as a mathematical function of variables, right? So say for example, we form equations, right? Like see, suppose an equation can be formed like maximum sale plus minimum marketing is equal to profit, right? Less cost of production plus less wastage is equal to profit. Similarly, we are making certain equations, right? In this method, the desired benefit, that is the profit, is expressed in terms of mathematical function of variables. So variables is wastage, it is sales, it is production. So those kind of okay. The solution is the set of values for decision variables that leads to the maximum benefit subject to certain constraints. So when we solve this, okay, when we solve this equation, we'll get a value for wastage, we'll get a value for production, we'll get a value for sales, we get a value for marketing cost. So these are the solutions. Okay, so set of values for the decision variables. And what are the decision variables? The cost of production, sales, marketing cost, then wastages. These are now decision variables. We'll get a value for all these decision variables. Okay, and this we can identify which is the set which gives us maximum benefit subject to constraints. Constraints will always be there. We cannot go beyond a certain production. We cannot go beyond a certain sale. That will be there, but even subject to that constraints, what is the best thing that's given under this method, right? But what happens is, because due to the complex and turbulent business world today, very few decisions are made under certainty, right? Because we cannot predict what is going to happen tomorrow. See, the international pressure changes, international politics changes, daily our regional politics is changing, everything is changing very rapidly. New technologies are coming, so we cannot make much of a decision under certainty. They can be made, but it is very few, right? So decision under certainty. What is first assumption? We are assuming that we are certain what is going to happen. Okay, we are assuming that we are certain that we know what is going to happen. And what do we do in this in here we form equations, we form mathematical functions, right? And we'll solve those mathematical functions, and the solutions of that, the solutions will be values for each of the decision variables. Okay, and we'll take the one which gives us maximum benefit under the given constraints, right? That is decision making under certainty. But the problem here is because of the world today, okay, the market is changing, the people's interests are changing. See, a couple of years back we had a full jar soda, right? Everyone is going behind that, but shortly after that people became conscious about the hygiene, so sales came down, right? So market condition changes, the mode of people's interests are changing, very volatile in nature. So you cannot make much of a decision than certainty. Only very few of them are, few of them can be made under certainty, right? Yeah, that is decision making under certainty. Now, decisions under uncertainty. Decisions under uncertainty is when there are several future states of nature, but the probabilities of each of these occurring is not known. Okay. See, yesterday, till yesterday we know, tomorrow or a couple of days back we had a question that whether lockdown may be extended. Okay, lockdown can be extended, lockdown can be cancelled. Okay, so there were two states of future, two future states, and we know there's a cancer there, but we are not sure about what is going to happen. Right? Probabilities of each of occurring is not known. Similarly, for any decision, for anything what we make, we are not sure what is going to happen. We don't know the probability of occurrence. Okay, this can occur, that can occur, but which is going to occur, we are not sure. Okay, and that is the case when uncertainty happens. So in such situation, decision makers choose from the following decision making tools. So there are different approaches which can be used. The first one is Maxi-Max solution. Okay, Maxi-Max solution. Maxi-Max solution means this approach is taken by optimistic decision makers and assumes whatever the action taken, the best will be happening. Okay? Deals with selecting the best possible outcome for each decision and choosing the best decision with maximum payoff. So what happens here is, suppose we are having four alternatives A, B, C, and D. So in Maxi-Max approach, we are following optimistic nature. Okay, so whatever will happen, only the best will happen. Okay, that is the principle. What is happening, what will happen, the best will be happy. Whatever may happen, it will be the best. That's the condition. Right? So we have four alternatives: alternative A, B, C, and D. So first we'll see, we take alternative A. What is the best thing that will happen? For alternative B, what is the best thing? Again for alternative B. Alternative C, what is the best result? Alternative D, what is the best result? Out of these four best results, we'll choose the one which is the best, or which one gives us the maximum. Okay, so alternatives A, B, C, and D are there. In Maxi-Max approach, we are following optimistic approach. Okay, optimistic approach, the best will happen. Okay, whatever may be the condition, it will be, whatever will happen, it will be for the best. That is the principle. So we have alternative A, B, C, and D. Right? So alternative A, B, C, and D is there. So alternative A, so we see what will happen if we choose alternative A. What is the best thing that will happen? What is the best thing that will happen if alternative B is chosen? Same for C and D. So out of these four best results, which is the maximum? Okay, if suppose alternative C is the maximum, we'll take decision alternative C as the course of action. Okay, or it will be our decision. We'll follow alternative C. That is Maxi-Max approach. The next one is Maxi-Min approach or Maxi-Min solution. Okay, in this approach, what happens is we are following a pessimistic approach. Okay, a pessimistic approach is this approach is taken by pessimistic decision maker. Used with selecting an alternative whose worst outcome is least bad. Okay, the decision maker chooses the outcome which is guaranteed to minimize the losses. Okay, So what happens in max-min solution or max-min approach is that we are following a pessimistic approach. In max-min it was optimistic. Pessimistic means whatever we do, it will be condition will be worst. We get the worst result. So again, we are having four alternatives: A, B, C, and D. So what we in this approach, what we will see is what is the worst thing that will happen if you choose alternative A. Okay, what is the worst thing that will happen if you choose alternative A? Worst thing that will happen if you choose alternative B. Worst thing that will happen if you choose alternative C. And worst thing that will happen if you choose alternative D. We'll see what are the worst things. So after these four worst things, we'll take the least one. Here, least worst thing will be taken, right? So in Maximax, we took the best among best. Here we took the least among worst. Okay, least among worst. What is the what will be the result of that? Because we are choosing a decision which will give us minimum loss, right? So if suppose alternative B is giving the minimum worst case, is giving the least worst condition, that means if we choose alternative B, the chance of losses are minimum. Okay, alternative A, B, C, and D are there. Okay. Each of these alternatives are we are seeing what is the worst thing that can happen. Okay, worst thing for alternative A, worst thing for alternative B, worst thing for alternative C, and worst thing for alternative D. And among that, if alternative B is the least worst, we'll choose alternative B. And what does it imply? If we apply alternative B, or rather, if B is our decision, even if the loss occurs, it will be the least loss. Okay, that is maxi min solution. Then we have mini max solution. Okay, mini max solution means it's taken by a person who is neither optimistic nor pessimistic. These are in between. Okay, a position between max optimism and pessimism. So that the result also will be between maximum and maxi max solution. Okay, or it can be either maxi max or maxi minimum also. We are not optimistic, we are not pessimistic. The fourth one is Laplace criteria. Laplace criteria, what happens is here the assumption is that the probability of occurrence, okay, the probability of occurrence of all future states are equal and is equal to 1 in n. Okay, suppose we said we have four alternatives, right? Four options are there. So each occurrence is having a possibility of 1 in n or 1 in 4. If four possibilities are there, then the occurrence will be probability of occurrence is 1 in 4. If it is 10, it will be 1 in 10. Okay? Using these, we compute the expected payoff for each course of action, and the maximum expected value is regarded as optimum. Okay, so what happens is we'll assume we know what are the different possibilities that can occur, and we'll assign each of these possibilities equal weightage. That is, the probability of occurrence of each of these weightage of each of these events are equal. So if 10 events are 10 chances are there, all will be 1 in 10. Okay? Using this, we compute, like you did in mathematics, we compute the expected payoff for each course of action, and the maximum expected value is regarded as optimal. Okay? Which gives him the maximum value. So which alternative gives us the maximum expected value that is taken as optimal. So again, if you see, we have decisions under uncertainty. Uncertainty means there are several future states that can happen, but we are not sure what is the probability. We are not sure which one will occur, and that is the case when uncertainty happens. Right? In such cases, we have four methods for making a decision. First solution is maxi-max solution. So in maxi-max solution, what will happen is the decision maker he'll take all the alternatives into consideration, and he'll find out what is the best thing that will happen if we choose alternative A. Suppose there are four alternatives. What is the best thing that will happen if we choose alternative A? best thing for alternative B, best thing for alternative C, and best thing for alternative D. Out of these best things, he will choose the best. So here, condition is we are following an optimism. Okay, we are following an optimistic path, and our principle is whatever may happen, whatever we do, only the best will happen. Okay, is it practical or not? That's the question mark is there. Okay, the second solution is maximum minimum solution. Okay, maximum among minimum. Maximum minimum solution. Okay, so this approach is taken by pessimistic decision maker. So we are following pessimistic. That is, whatever we do, worst will happen. So again, out of the four alternatives, we see what is the worst thing that can happen. Okay, worst thing that can happen if you choose decision A or alternative A, B, C, or D. So we have a list of worst things that can happen, and among them, we'll choose the one with the least worst condition. Okay, so the result is if we choose that particular decision, even if loss occurs, it will be less than compared to other decisions. Okay, even if we choose a decision, the loss which will occur will be less when compared to the other decisions. Right? That is the pessimistic or maximum solution. Third one is minimax solution. In this, we are following a middle path. That is, we are not pessimistic, we are not optimistic, but we are neutral. Right? In Laplace criteria, what will happen is we are assigning, we know what are the different future states. So what are the different possibilities, and we'll assign all these possibilities equal or equal probability. Okay, the probability of 1 in n. Then we'll solve it, and the one which gives us maximum benefit will be optimum. Right? That is Laplace criteria. So decision under certainty, decision under uncertainty. Third one is decision under risk. Okay? So decision under risk is the most common one. Right? Decision under risk. Always whatever decision we make, we'll be making it under risk. Okay. So the process is as follows. The first thing what we do is we define the problem and identify all the likely alternatives. Okay. Okay. So suppose we are going to open a restaurant. So this is our aim to open a restaurant. What is the problem? Okay. Maybe the menu. Okay. So what are the different alternatives we can choose? So we'll identify what is the problem and we'll what may be the problem and list all the alternatives. So what can be done? Then identify the possible outcome for each likely alternative. Okay. So if we start a menu like Chinese menu. Okay. If we are opening a Chinese restaurant, what is the thing? What will happen? We are opening an Indian restaurant. What will happen? If we are opening a French or a grill restaurant, what will happen? Okay. So identify the possible outcome for each likely alternative. After that, what we do is we'll discuss the outcome based on the monetary payoffs in reference to the assets of time. So we are going, if we open a French restaurant, we have to invest this much assets has to be invested, or this much time we have to invest. What is the monetary payoffs? How much money? In terms of money, we will talk. Okay, so we discuss the outcome based on their monetary payoffs in reference to assets of time. Then after that, what we do is we allocate a probability of occurrence for each uncertainty. Then again, as we see in the Laplace criterion, where we applied 1 in n, similarly, we will be allocating a probability of occurrence for each uncertainty. Okay? For each uncertainty, we'll allocate a probability of occurrence. That will depend upon the uncertainty. We are assigning, not equally, but we are assigning. Okay? The quality of outcome will depend upon the quality of the judgments by which alternatives were identified and probabilities were assigned. Right? So we were the ones who identify the alternatives, right? The first step. So in the first step, we define the problem and identify all the alternatives. We did that, right? Then, so the quality of the outcome will depend upon the quality of the judgment by which alternatives were identified. So what were our mindset? Okay, what is the quality of our judgment? And probabilities will be assigned. Again, we will the one who allocated the probability, right? Step 4, allocate a probability of occurrence for each. So we did that. So that will depend that will show us the outcome. Okay, that will give us the quality of our outcome. So after that, we will do a sensitivity analysis. Okay, and check how sensitive the answer is to the allocated probabilities. So we will do something called a sensitivity analysis. The sensitivity analysis you see next. Okay, sensitivity analysis done to check how sensitive the answer is to the allocated probability. Right? Okay. So when decisions are made on risk, that is the most common aspect. Okay? We make a decision under risk. Okay? What is the risk involved in whenever we are making a decision? Okay. So first step is define the problem. Okay? What is the risk? And identify all the alternative what can be done. If that is not the case, what is to be done? Like that, we need to list them everything. We have to identify them. Then identify possible outcomes for each likely alternative. So if I'm not choosing this, if I choose alternative A, what is the outcome? Alternative B, what is the outcome? Identify all the possible outcomes. Then discuss the outcome based on monetary payoff. Okay, discuss the outcome based on the money involved. How much money are we gonna get? Money is the factor there. Okay, because we are putting in some assets and time. Assets again, we are putting in money, we are putting our time. So based on that, discuss the outcome. Then after that, allocate a probability for each of these uncertainty. Okay, and the quality of outcome will depend upon this thing. That is how well we chose the alternative and how well we assign the probabilities. That will depend upon that. That two factors will determine what is the outcome. And for the outcome, what we do something called a sensitivity analysis. Okay? And sensitivity analysis will give us how sensitive is the answer to the allocated probability. So one method is sensitivity analysis. So how sensitivity analysis is done? So in sensitivity analysis, what we do is the degree of responsiveness of the independent variable for a given change in the dependent variable is analyzed. So we will have dependent variable, we will have independent variable, right? We will have dependent, independent. What we do is in sensitivity analysis, we will analyze if we change something with the dependent variable, how much will the independent variable change? Okay, that responsiveness is analyzed. The degree of responsiveness of the independent variable for a given change in the dependent variable is analyzed. So if we change, okay, if we change the production, what will happen? If we decrease the production, what will happen? Like that, we will say, see. Okay, we will say the dependent variable. If we changes, slight changes to the dependent variable, what is the change to the independent variable, or how much is the change? Whether there is a change, whether there is no change, like that. Yeah, how much is the responsiveness? That we will analyze. This analysis sensitivity analysis. That term sensitivity towards the change in the dependent variable. That is done here. Okay, so basically consider 3 steps. The first step is identify all the variables that affect the NPV or IRR present value. IRR, internal rate of return. Okay. Identify all the variables that affect the net present value or IRR, internal rate of return. Okay. So NPV method consists of comparing the present value of all net cash inflow to the initial investment. Okay. So suppose we have started a restaurant, we have put in the initial investment, right? So we have put in sometimes we would have constructed the building, the staff, and the equipment, everything, right? So we are having an initial investment. And what is the net cash inflow? That means what is the revenue? We compare the present value of the net revenue to the initial investment. Initial investment was in past. Okay? How much is the present value of the revenue? Net cash inflow. Okay? After paying off our bills, what is the inflow? Okay? Just two terms, gross and net. Gross means total. Okay, suppose if you are selling a biryani, suppose if you are selling a biryani, you get 150. You are selling a biryani for 200 rupees. Okay, the 200 rupees is not your revenue because you had spent some amount for the preparation, the cook, everything, right? So all those things has to be reduced from this 200, and finally you make it 30 rupees or 40 rupees. Okay, for the initial investment. So your for biryani, your profit will be 40 rupees. Okay, that is net. Okay, gross minus your expenditure will give you net. So in NPV method, net present value method, what we do is we find out the net present value of the net value of the income. Okay, that's the present value of the income, and we'll compare it to the investment, initial investment. So initial investment was done in past, right? In IRR, so, rate of return, the present value of the future cash flows of an investment with the initial investment. Okay. What we do is we'll find out the present value of the future cash flow. Yeah, in the suppose we are getting 100 rupees in the future. What is the present value today? Okay, think of gold. Okay, earlier the power it will be some amount. Today this is another amount. Value of the future in future 100 rupees. What is the value? Okay. So then there's a mathematical relationship between dependent and dependent variable. So identify all the variables that affect our income, rate of return, present fact, right? Then mathematical relationship between dependent and dependent. Then study and analyze the impact of the change in variable. What will happen if you change the lab? Okay, so and find the example of showing greater sensitivity more. If we change something, changing there's in the okay, change change the independent sensitivity project sensitivity. That is how if you change the dependent variable, there's a change in the independent. It is one of the most effective thing. It's a schematic representation of it. It's a schematic representation of the would make sequences. Okay, let's see what it is. Okay, it is composed of nodes and branches emanating from them. Nodes and this is an example of a decision tree. Okay, we'll discuss it after. Right. So there will be square nodes that depends the decision points and node chance. Okay, there are also triangle nodes with the end. Okay. Whenever we are constructing reading the decision making, we move left to right. Normally, how would do we read? That the same procedures followed. So branches leaving circle node, one show leaving the square even shows alternative. And if it's we okay, so the branches leaving the things up. There are chance events and decision events. Okay? And if a chance even follow a decision, whatever we do, we choose the monetary value which gives the highest output or the least cost. Okay, whatever we do, we'll choose a value which gives us highest cost and least cost. Okay, that's we choose the distance. Okay, so there's a technical problem. I just 1 second, sort it out. So, see, in this example, let's start with an example. Okay? So, you can see we are having a point of decision. So, we have development decision. We don't right direction. Okay, maybe for an app, okay, maybe for a material, anything. We are going to make a decision, we are going to develop. So, squares denote decision point and circles denote chance events. And there is also triangles that shows the end. Okay, so in this figure, in this example, there's no end. So, there is no triangle event. So, we are having a decision, we are decided development. So, there are two possibilities, right? Either the program or the app which we shall choose the app. Either the app we should choose become success or become failure. Okay? Or we'll take a material. Okay, will take a new a stylus or a pen. So we are going to design a new pen. Okay, we are going to develop a new pen. So, so there's no possibility that product access and or first is the top value, the development program succeeds. There's a chance program succeeding. Similarly, when we make a decision, the product can fail. Okay? Or drop the product. Those are the two decisions. Once you made it move, there's a possibility that our program succeeds. Okay, then or program fails. Right? Program succeeds or program fails. Development program fails. If then we need to set up a plan. Should we set up a large plan or should we set up a small plan? Okay, we need to should we set up a large plan or should we set up a small plan? Okay, so large plan there are two possibilities. Best case scenario, it is 8 months. Worst case, the 12 months. In case of small plants also, there's two chances. One is completion in 6 months, completion in 4 months. So these all these things are listed out. I'm being a decision maker. So if I need to I don't want money. I'll say, okay, what we'll do is this we can spend 4 months or start product. So if I'm thinking, okay, start production. So all the alternate like this is a tree, right? So, so this analysis makes all problem outcomes to assess and make decision making process easy. So just okay, you have any questions? So Akash, okay. Abhinand, Akash, Abhinand, Abhinav.